meeting for COVID yesterday. So she understands when it comes in.
Has a meeting.
I was teasing them yesterday. They were on track to be wrapped in about 15 minutes for the EOC call. Then there was a few questions and it was now 27 minutes. And I said, you know, if you don't go 30, you only get half a meeting here.
All right, we are live.
Good morning. Welcome to the Berrien County Finance Committee meeting. Stephanie Carlson, would you call the roll? And members, would you state your name and where you are and why you're here?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Present. Mamie Yarborough, City of Benton Harbor, on a Zoom call.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Present, Waterville Zoom.
Commissioner Scott,
President, New Buffalo Township via Zoom.
Commissioner Freeling.
Present via Zoom, Baroda Township.
Thank you. Annette, would you help us with the agenda, please?
I would, except that Jake's not in the room. He stepped out for a second and he's doing bid openings next.
He went to grab me a copy of the legal invoice.
If you want to go ahead and approve your minutes from the January 14th meeting, maybe?
Thank you. May I have a motion, please, to accept the minutes?
Madam Chair, Scott, I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you.
I will support.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and supported. Do you all have any corrections or questions?
Thanks.
And Stephanie, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Carries. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
So Jake's back in the room, so we'll go ahead and get him started on his bid openings.
Okay, this first bid is 2021-003, the polymer modified ceiling, asphalt and fog seal. We received 2 bids. This first one is from the Klink Group out of Ashley, Indiana.
This is 200 and something thousand. I saw when you sent the request for bid. You sent that to us. Right?
Sorry, what are you looking for?
I'm just asking, is that the one? Oh, it's, how much is it? The 300? Yes.
Yeah, 320,000.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
One second.
We have a half hour. We have 15 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. It's gonna make me do some math.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
This is Commissioner Scott. We seem to go through this a lot, where we have to go through all of these bids, and like he's doing now, sometimes add them up, sometimes we don't know what page they're on. Could we provide a form to all bidders for the county that they send their explanation sheet in, that the very first page is the total? Just a thought. That way it'll be easier on us, because when we get more into the roads, we're going to be having a lot of bids coming in on the same day. And sometimes when we were at the county building, it would take us past 10:30 when we were opening up bids, and the board meeting had to wait. So I don't know, is there a form that we could provide the bidders, all bidders, to say, you can do your explanation, but you have to put this cover sheet on the first page that tells exactly how much the total is? Just my thoughts.
Mr. Lideker, were you looking to do something like that?
Yes, I will.
Talk to Doug James?
Yeah, we'll do something because that'd make it easier for me too.
Yeah, because I think you're all aware of what Commissioner Scott is asking about,
Yep.
especially when they go to where you have to start making totals. Are you ready now?
As soon as I do this other calculation.
Okay.
So they have 65,000 gallons of asphalt emulsion, which I'm guessing the bid part of it is the $2.49 a gallon. So that comes out to $161,850. And they have 60,000 gallons of fog seal at $1.99 a gallon, which is $119,400. And that makes their total $281,250.
Say the total again, please.
Give it again.
So the emulsion was $161,850. The fog seal was $119,400.
Okay,
So then the total is $281,250.
thank you.
Yep.
One?
And the next bid is from Michigan Paving Materials out of Alma, Michigan.
And maybe the envelope opener.
Now I want that. Give me this one. We're moving up. All right. Let me open this other one because that just says no bid. Okay.
hold music or something to play along. If I had my phone, I'd play the baby giggle, but I don't have it.
It was the baby giggle.
Oh my gosh. My grandbaby, she giggled on social media yesterday.
That was cute.
It made me cry.
Either that or play the theme from Jeopardy for when you're waiting for the.
That's a good one.
Annette, was that your grandbaby during the admin meeting?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, I wasn't sure because there was a kid noise or something that I heard in the admin meeting.
Well, it was kind of, we tried to let me do it at my desk and Brian at his, but the extra office noise around my cubicle made it difficult. So then I moved, and so it may have just been the ladies upstairs.
Okay, so for Michigan Paving, they have two options. They have a price if they deliver the materials, and then a price if the road department picks them up. So for them delivering the materials, it's $1.83 a gallon for the emulsion, and that's at 85,200 gallons. That equals $155,916. If they deliver the fog seal at 85,200, that's at $2.49 a gallon. That would be $212,148. And that total is $368,064. If they deliver, or Barron County Road Department picks up the material, the emulsion is $1.55 a gallon, so then it would be $132,060. If they pick up the fog seal, it would be $2.21 a gallon, so that's $188,292. And that total would, of us picking up, is $320,352.
Okay, that's all the bids on that order.
That's correct.
How many did you send them out to?
We sent it to 5 people.
Okay, and 5 and 2 came back.
Yes, and one of them isn't somebody we sent it to. So out of those 5, 1 responded, and then the other one.
Okay. Stephanie, do you have that motion?
Yes, I do.
Do we need to read it, or can we just say that motion?
I think we used that, we used that last week, and I think that works. The standard motion for accepting road department bids,
Okay.
if that's good with you guys.
May I have a motion to accept the road department bid for San Luis without saying them?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Scott. I make the motion using the standard language of the road department bidding process.
Thank you. Have a support, please.
This is Commissioner Freeling, I support.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Stephanie, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next bid?
The next bid is 2021-005 for asphalt emulsion. We sent it to 5 people and 1 responded.
Okay.
And that is the Clink Group out of Ashley, Indiana.
Are they new? I remember, I asked you last week how to spell it. Is it a new company for you all to do business with?
I have no idea.
Is that, Scott, Ezra, is that familiar to you?
Yeah, they bid on a lot of things last year too. The Click Group did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. You kind of remember the name because I'm sorry, but when I heard it, the first thing I thought it was the TV show Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, there was somebody named Sergeant.
Yeah, no, that was Colonel Clink. So that's what reminded me of that. So I remember that from last year. So, yeah.
you know, I thought I'd have to do some calculations here, because Ben told me he had some bunch of stuff last time.
I'm liking my total page on the cover more and more. Just my thoughts. You know, Madam Chair,
Yes,
you know what's going to be coming up soon, and this, my suggestion on having a cover page with totals on it would be outstanding and awesome, is you do know that soon the road department is going to be going out for all of their signposts, their fittings, their nuts, their bolts, their washers. You happen to remember that. And that was one long bid opening just for that one type of bid, because they break it all down.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because of such varieties, maybe there's going to be, something for this, something for that. Like this is by gallon. I would go be by foot,
Right,
be by cubic something.
right. But that's why I thought of that, and I've been meaning to say that before. But maybe if we could do some cover sheet to send to them that it's on the bidding documents to say, this is the cover sheet you have to put on. So Jake or Ben or whoever's doing it doesn't have to be, go on a mystery search.
Mhm. Because in our request, we put the amounts that we need, so they would be able to, just like he's multiplying by.
Right, but what I'm thinking of is that it takes the trial and error out of someone actually punching the numbers into a calculator to get to a total. If they're bidding on it, that should be their job. If they mess up the figures, that's on them. We mess the figures up on the calculation, that'd be on us.
Yeah.
Annette,
Yes.
I'm having some issues here, but that's probably the best I can do.
Oh, did I miss it? I was looking down.
That's the best I can do.
Oh, my goodness. So cute. Sitting by Dad in his meeting on Thursday.
Got a lot to say. He wants his vote counted.
Absolutely. Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so they also, it's the same two options for if they pick it up, or if they deliver, or if we pick it up. So at first, there's Dust Stop, 85,200 gallons at $1.35. That's $115,020 if they deliver. If we pick it up, it's $1.30, so that's $110,760. Next is asphalt emulsion, anionic, whatever that means. If they deliver it, it's $2.75 a gallon, so that would be $234,300. If we pick it up, it would be $2.70 a gallon, so that's $230,040. And next is HFS2M, whatever that is, and that is 631,500 gallons. If they deliver it, it's 1.657 a gallon. That's $1,046,396. If we pick it up, it's $1.60.7. So that's $1,014,820.50. So the total, if they deliver it, is 1,395,716. And the total, if we pick it up, is $1,355,620.50.
Good Lord. Someone just won the $731 million in the lottery, one ticket. I saw that on the, I forgot where it was though. The New Jersey.
So it wasn't us.
Sorry.
It was in Maryland.
No. Okay. Excuse me. Was that Clink, the company?
Yes, this was.
Okay. Is there another?
That is it.
Good. May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Scott. I'll make the motion to send these back to the road department per the road department's special bid or bid statement, bid motion.
May I have a support?
This is Commissioner Freeland. I support.
Thank you. Would you call, more questions? Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes?
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott, would you make a report on this when we get out?
There was a very long bidding process, and we went through it. We have the numbers, and we sent everything back to the road department.
That's it. That's all I want you to say. So there are more, Jake?
No, those are the only two bids.
Okay, then the other things are about, they're not about bids. Thank you very much, Jake Lideker.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
What else is in connect with the road department?
I'm sorry, what was that, Mimi?
There are some other proposals with the road department. It says asphalt. Oh, it's just to change the date, I guess.
I'm not sure what you're looking at.
I have tomorrow's bid opening from Jake Lideker, and it has about 5 boxes on it. But it must be explanation.
I'm sure she's.
Yeah, those were the only bids, Mamie. The other ones were basically explanations of what
Yes.
this was about. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Go to the agenda, please.
So next is your committee business, and I'm on there for board appointments. Kathy Miller served on workforce development. Maybe I'm sure you're familiar with her.
Yes.
She was from DHS. She was their person. She's not there anymore. So the person who took her place is Kathy also, but Valdez. That term is supposed to expire at the end of this year. And so I was contacted by Workforce Development. They would like us to change that out and put her in that place for MDHS. So I'm just looking for your concurrence to take that to the full board, and then I will have that on the agenda actually today, if we can, to get that one in place. And then I still believe we have one more vacancy there that they're working on.
Okay, that would be fine with me. I knew them both. That is on workforce development. There are certain areas they need filled.
Yep.
Social services. They've always had a space. So would you all give consensus for Kathy Valdez to be appointed in the place of Kathy Miller, who probably retired?
Yes, right.
Yeah, from social services.
I'm good with that, Madam Chair.
Okay, it's done.
So I'll write that board appointment. I'll write that board appointment up, and then that will be on the agenda for today, and I'll get that out before the meeting to everybody.
Madam Chair, I have a question about board appointments.
Yes.
And this is to Annette. Did we ever get everything all straightened out with the planning commission?
We're gonna do it
Are we
today.
still short members?
We're gonna do it today, aren't we? We're gonna work on that now.
I was gonna come back to you today to see where, if after reviewing all of the applications, where you guys were kind of wanting to go with that. So that's, I think you have everything. You've got the review sheet that showed all the different positions and the people that are there now and the people that are applying.
Yes, let me just ask a few things, because I had looked at it, and we had a short meeting, and that's when you found out that instead of 9 members, it should be 11 members, which is good because we have a lot of people that have applied to be on the Planning Commission. And I have some thought and some things that I want to say, and I'd ask you all to have some thoughts. I've looked at it, Annette and Brian, we've looked at it really well. And the 2 things that stood out to me that I wanted us to address is, do you know how many women are on the Planning Commission already? One lady resigned this year, didn't she? Are there any other women on there, Annette?
Yes.
I'm on there, Commissioner.
You're on the Planning Commission, Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
The other lady resigned.
We have Lois Foster.
What's her name?
Lois Foster. She's
No,
from
that's-
Niles Township.
There's another one that resigned. Chris, is her name Chris?
We had Vicky Wagner resigned.
Vicky Wagner.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
also had Julie Smith. She resigned as well.
Okay. And what's the other one you said from Niles?
Lois Foster.
She's still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there are 2 ladies. I just wanted to, because in the applications, there was one lady that had applied. And
Certainly.
I'd like very much to see her appointed, because out of all the ones we had, there was only one woman, to keep it, with a variety of. And do you all know her? Do you know anything about her? I don't know her. She's
I don't know.
RN, and she and her husband has a business. And I don't know what categories she would fit in. We'll look at that and make things work. The other thing that I wanted you all to pay attention to is that Chris Hugo, our former commissioner, signed up. He put in an application to continue being on the Planning Commission. Was already on it, I guess, as a representative of the, was he a representative of the county, or was he a citizen?
No, he just did that as a citizen, meaning he was not previously on Planning Commission.
He wasn't on it while he was a
No.
commissioner?
No, ma'am.
No, it's Commissioner Freeling who's been on there. So he was just trying, because there's 4 vacancies on that, and so he was just trying to apply for that spot, or for one of those spots.
And that's what
Madam Chair.
yes.
So one of the things that we need from the Planning Commission is to make sure that we have all of the different areas of interest of the county represented.
Yes.
So business, real estate, economic development, agriculture, environmental. There's a lot of different categories that are a part of our ordinance
Yes.
that are strongly urged to be included in the makeup of that board.
Yes.
Myself, as a county commissioner, I'm appointed by the board chair as an ex officio. So I sit and I give input. I pay attention to what's happening with regards to decisions that are being made, how that impacts the county's master plan. But ultimately, it's important that we have a really great makeup of those areas of interest in the county. And so looking at the applications, that would be really what I would be focusing on to make certain that we have all of those areas of interest represented.
Okay, and then this is what I wanted to say then, when you say real estate, that's what Chris shows. I'm hoping that because he was a commissioner and there's something he's interested in, and the fact that 2 more positions were added, that there is a space there for you all to consider him being on that committee. If he wants to serve, I would hope he could do something for, I don't know if it's 2 years or 4 years or whatever it is. Also, Commissioner Hinkleman brings to our attention all the time about the need for farmers, for agriculture to be represented. And I saw 2 applications in there, I believe, that are farmers. One is Nye, And we may have interviewed a young man before, and I wonder, and Terry may know them, if you all know them, or I'm just seeing what we can do without having interviews. And then there was another one. Did you look at it, John? Did you see the names of the farmers? To see if you had any thought about them being on it.
I did, Madam Chair, but as it was explained to me by Annette, and at least it wasn't lost on me, that to Terry's previous dialogue that she had, she was basically indicating that the Planning Commission is made up of a very eclectic group, and that eclectic group, they try to match so that they don't overload interests on there. They try to make sure that everybody is represented. And at this point in time, the agricultural portion of what is happening is with Lois. And when Lois leaves that position, it should be someone else, obviously, of agriculture that has agricultural background and is an expert in that. And so it's not lost on me that they don't want to try to overload the commission with any one given talent. And so as long as I see agriculture is represented, and it's difficult because a lot of times you've got a lot of very qualified people that put in, but their specialty and their what they're good at, that's not the opening on the board at the time. And so I don't know if I explained that pretty well, but it's not lost on me that they try to make it a very eclectic group.
Okay, and so Lois Foster represents agriculture, Terry?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so those are the things. Anyone else?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Probably for Terry or whatever. Who's on the Planning Commission representing business?
Annette, do you have who we have sort of earmarked for that? Because I know that we have Arthur Havlick from the chamber who also has applied.
I know that Havlicek. How do you say his name?
Havlick. I'm
Okay.
probably butchering it.
Arthur H.
Arthur H.
Arthur H.
There you go.
Right.
I don't know that we had somebody specifically in that area, but I know that I think he had a conversation with Dan Fetty about, because he's with, I think it's Cornerstone, right? Isn't that?
He is the head of the chamber. He's the head of the Chamber of Commerce.
That's what, yeah.
The job that Chris Hugo used to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
is he under
So that area is
consideration?
not currently really represented.
He's not on there.
He's not,
No.
but he's not under consideration for appointment
He
of
could
one of the positions?
be.
Yeah.
And should be.
I would then, if we needed a motion, I'd like to have him appointed to represent the business section of the Planning Commission.
Then may I ask, do you have someone for real estate?
No, we do not.
Can it be Chris Hugo? Is that going to be not good? Both of them have the same job? Because
I don't think they have the same job.
I said they did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Chris
I
Hugo
don't
was
think
the head of the Chamber of Commerce. This young man now is the head of the chamber. It doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me.
doesn't bother me.
I'd like to, when I retire from the county and there's some committee that I put in to be on, I would hate to think that you all would not consider, that you all would not do it. That's what I want to say. I'm writing that in my will. But that's what I would hope that, if I'm a good member and attend and that you would consider
Right.
putting on that. So does that give us two people?
So the other area that I believe was represented by JB Hoyt was our environmental and parks.
Okay.
Annette, do you know if we have that represented in other areas through
I'm
membership
sorry.
of the planning commission?
I totally didn't bring my package down here. I cannot believe I did that, so I'm sorry. I don't have it with me. It was in that overview sheet, I think, kind of like where they thought people were fitting in for their background. it seemed to me that when Jill sent I'm sorry, not Jill, Katie sent the thing of where they were kind of putting people, it seemed like there was somebody that was in there, but then when I pulled the bits of the application out, it wasn't like staring out at me that was a specific case. So, I mean, the other thing that you have too is that you can, for example, one of the ideal things that you have is just a general citizen, just somebody who was just sitting in a spot that wasn't specifically maybe into a category, but it's just, you know, in a general, and a lot of the boards have that. So you have two other positions that you could kind of, you know, stick other people in there, even if they're just a general citizen person.
Certainly.
So of the people that applied, have you looked at those, the other names, the applications? I went through them and really great people. I mean, when you read the application, there's no one I knew. I also think you ought to think about where they live, you know, the geographical, so that if there are things that only happen over this way, or, you know, they're on the water, or they're inland and they don't have broadband and da-da-da-da-da. That's what I think it should be regional also.
I think there was an actual application in there for somebody who thought he might fit like into boating, and that was one of the other areas where they had thought, you know, on the waterways and that kind of thing. So that's that two different lists, right? It's the ordinance, and then it's the kind of the areas and the bylaws. And so that was another specific area. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but there was somebody.
How would I know him? Where did he live? This is Coloma. I'm looking at Coloma as the first one. What else? Where did he live? You know?
I don't remember where he lived. I'm sorry. I can go grab my stuff if you want me to grab that. If you guys want to have chat a little bit, I'll be right back.
Okay, sure.
Wanna go?
Yeah,
Madam
I was
Chair?
trying to find mine too.
What did you say, Karen?
So,
I
Madam
was saying I
Chair,
was trying to- Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
while we're waiting for Annette, there is one thing that I was hoping to have the commissioners take a quick look at. I'm going to pull up a file that Rocky over in Emergency Operations put together.
Okay.
So the commissioners have been talking about trying to get more information from the various departments on upcoming projects and bid items. And then, so your staff is working on that right now, coming up with some concept forms to push out to the various departments, asking them to embrace. Between myself and Annette, we'll show that form once we've got it finalized to this group to take a look at. But this came from Rocky Adams, and it was just a breakdown of his staff review of the 5 bids that they got for hazard mitigation planning. And I think that this is a really good example that could be a good template for finance to embrace. But something that I'd like to encourage is that the finance require the various departments to communicate back on what bid is being selected and why. And with this project, there's a fair amount of subjective review. And so Rocky put together an evaluation team. They did point scoring and then ultimately recommended approval of the low bidder. And I'm working with him now to get a resolution. I'll bring that forward to the Board of Commissioners. And with bids like you just opened, to ask you all to embrace a certain bidder just on the fly when you're talking about aggregate, when you're talking about IT upgrades, when you're talking about hazard mitigation planning. There's just no good way to do that in a timely manner. And I think that what Rocky has put together could be a nice template that we require for departments to communicate back when they select the bidder that for whatever project. So I did want to just get feedback from you all. Does this approach make sense to you? And is it something that you'd like to see rolled out for future bids?
Brian, I have a question.
Yeah.
since we do not have the information in front of us, is the lower number the better bid, or is the higher number the better bid?
So it's the higher, and in this case, the low bidder ultimately was the one that is being recommended.
Right.
So that makes it relatively simple. I just know that when you all had the conversation last week about what's being purchased, I've already met with department heads. I've talked to them about we have to do better about communicating who, what, where, when, why, and how. But as part of that conversation, it kind of dawned on me that we're not doing a great job of communicating back. Once the item is opened as a bid and goes to the department, that's where communication seems to halt as it relates to the finance committee. And it seems like this is one that if you all would like to see the department's conclusion, it would be relatively simple between myself, Stephanie, and Annette to get that pushed out and shared with finance. And I don't anticipate that we would have too many of these coming back to finance, but in the event that we opt as staff to pursue something other than the low bidder, we should then have some type of kicker clause where we're communicating that and at least giving finance an opportunity via email to say, yes, we want to know more. Does that make sense to this group?
It does to me, Brian. I think that both the ideas that were put forward this morning, yours concerning this and Ezra's idea to make common the bid process so that it can be, so that we can move through it in a more expedited fashion, get it to the department. Both those ideas are good ideas. I think you should move. I think you should move forward on those things.
And I'll take a while to understand, but I don't know what I was looking at when you showed that chart. Was it their opinion of who should have it? It had nothing to do with the money? Okay, all right. That it would do what you needed the piece you were trying to buy. Okay.
So for finance, the thing that I've observed just since coming here, you all have opened bids on massive upgrades to the to the county's computer operating system. And then just a few weeks later, you're opening up pretty massive bids as it relates to loose aggregate to be acquired by the road department. And I mean, it's just so broad, and to get value out of your time, opening these bids and trying to do any conversation about what is the best option, I feel like we could do a much better job of cleaning up the bid opening process. Ezra's idea on just having a standard sheet as a cover letter makes a lot of sense. And then having a standardized approach for the departments to communicate back to you all to ensure that you are getting the best product, best service, etc. I think that that's something that we could definitely do, and we could speed up this process of opening these individual bids and then really not understanding what was open and then spending weeks to a month or longer diving into the bid. That's something that I would like to pursue. I think we need to place value on your all's time, and it would definitely clean this up.
Okay.
So Rocky had just put that memo together this week, and I thought that was a real good template for something that we could push out to the departments.
Okay.
And neither of those things, Madam Chair, neither of those two proposals do anything to discredit the operation of actually opening the bids, which is what's paramount in this case, because the bids have to be, that process to open the bids has to be what it is. It has to be, they have to be opened, they have to be sealed. So neither of those two things discredit that in any way, shape, or form. So
good. Because that's the most important that we know. We stay 9 o'clock. That's what we do always to follow what will, the legal way of opening. But then it would be better if when you open it, there was something you could truly quickly move. I appreciate that being undermined when you're seeing our need, Brian. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Brian and the rest of the committee, this is all new ground that we're dealing with. And the reason that this came up, let's go back and have a little memory here. The reason this came up was because the road department in the Union Pier project did not go with the lowest bid the first time and gave the engineering to Whiteman rather than Avonmarsh. And then the actual project itself, they ended up giving to Whiteman, not Avonmarsh. And that's why we had requested that if they come up with anything less or anything different than the low bid, that they come back to this finance committee. That's where this kind of all started, if you happen to remember, because that was to the tune of what, $120,000 difference.
Yeah.
And none of that was explained to us or to them. So that's why I think we developed that little bit. I don't have a problem with the way Rocky's doing it, because just like Jason was doing, he was using a standardized sheet to determine a scorecard onto whether or not that particular bidder scored properly. We have to leave some of that to the department head, but our policies are our policies, that we are to go with the lowest bid. And that was the problem, if I remember that correctly. When we didn't go to the lowest bid, the finance committee had no idea at that time.
Right, but we always had that if it was over $5,000, it would come back to the administrator and back to the committee. And so all that was overlooked. Even Bill Wolf didn't know what had happened.
Right.
Then he went with them, but he did not know.
Right. Because then we had that special motion that Bill came up with, or that whoever came up with, it wasn't us, but it was presented to us, that we authorize the county administrator to make changes and approvals as long as it's not more than $5,000.
Yep.
Yep. So, but I don't have any problem in that. But, Brian, to be honest, I don't know what each department's scoring is. I'm as a finance committee member, I'm kind of leaving that up to the department head so that we don't have to get way, way, way down in the weeds on any of these things.
So the thing that I'm going to continue to work with department heads on is better communication at the front end of what's being bid. And then to close the loop, we need to communicate out to finance when the item is referred to the department, what item is ultimately selected. And then the kicker is, if for whatever reason we're not going with the low bid, we need to articulate what is the reason and communicate that to finance. And then if finance wants to see it back due to it not being the low bid, then we can make sure to get it on a future agenda. Does that track with this group's expectations?
It'd be fine, yes, with me.
Yeah, it'd be fine because,
Yes.
Brian, in essence, we had, maybe if you happen to remember, and John, you remember, we had an issue last year, or was it the year before? It had to do with the envelopes or the file folders. And when the people sent their bid in, they sent also a sample of the file folder. And I don't know whether it was the clerk's office or the courts or somebody, that they did not go with the cheapest bid because the file folder wasn't the thickness that they wanted. It wasn't the quality that they wanted.
Mhm.
So, but they did let us know why.
Yeah. That would be good. We need all we can to streamline, because it's something. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ryan. And that,
Okay, planning commission, take two. All right, so The ordinance states that the membership has to be representative of important segments of the community, economic, governmental, educational, and social development, in accordance with major interests such as agriculture, natural resources, recreation, education, public health, government, transportation, industry, and commerce. The membership shall also be representative of the entire geography of the local unit of government. So that's the part you're talking about, maybe where you have to kind of spread out your people. So currently, you have an individual from Benton Harbor, 2 from St. Joe, 1 from Niles, 1 from Stevensville, 1 from Coloma, and then our ex officio member from Baroda.
Okay.
So
That's good.
the gentleman, you did have some from the, I guess I would call it the southern part, but you did have an individual from New Buffalo who applied, who has some friends of Berrien County Trails, some previous experience with boards and planning commissions and that kind of,
Go back again. You said Berrien County Trail.
Friends of Berrien County Trails.
What's the name? Because I have the applications right before me. What was
Gary Wood.
it? Wood?
Gary Wood, he's from New Buffalo.
Okay. Because you said you needed someone for the park to take White's place.
Yeah, you had mentioned that White was an environmental, I think, Terry.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Madam Chair, he is heavily involved with the Marquette Greenway, and heavily, I would imagine so, in the Parks Department. I have no problem with Gary Wood handling that job because he would be a different voice, evidently. He is
good.
big on the trails, like you said.
Okay.
But regardless, I mean, the only time him and I defer is on the Red Arrow Highway corridor, putting in the non-motorized pathway. And the only reason we defer on that is I don't think we should use county taxpayer money to fund that.
Okay.
So that's where him and I get off on that. But I would recommend him highly for that.
That's good. I'm reading here, he kayaks and Chickamee Township planning. And that, I begin to look, you brought to our attention that you can't be like an elected official. That's why we didn't take Peter Clovis. Because he's on the Hager Township Board. So you helped him be on Public Works because they should be making the decision. And that's what I started looking at also on the application.
Right, and I think it said he used to be. I don't think it says he is right here.
Can we put his name down for park? I'm sorry, that he's environmental? Is that what you're saying you need?
I
And
don't
that-
think, yes.
Now,
Yeah.
you're looking to, also hear this, you're looking to try to do 2 citizen positions? Is that what you're trying to do? That can.
Four.
No,
Is it 4? And
as far
then-
as the you're looking to fill 4 totally, but we've already made a couple of suggestions.
True.
And so 2, and so you're looking to fill 2 other that can come from, you've already filled the portfolio, correct? Can you tell me you've already filled the portfolio of needs for the planning committee? Can you tell me the 2 other people that are in ag at this point in time that have, I don't have the applications in front of me.
Yeah.
The ones that are currently sitting out,
Moser, Moser. Let me
Is it
look.
Matt?
Wait, just let me.
Yeah.
Is it Matt Moser?
Matthew
It is
Moser. Paloma, Matthew Moser.
Okay, and who else?
9. It was like NYE, Niagara Barn. And it may be a son or something. He's a lawyer. I think he applied for some. I remember interviewing him.
that would be, I think you're talking about Chris Latak, Family Farm,
Yeah.
Wine, he's the Michigan Wine Collaborative, Michigan Grape Society, Farm Bureau.
And he's a lawyer, Juris Doctorate he has.
Did he have that?
Yep.
I think
I'm gonna have it in a packet this minute.
I think he's currently managing the Nye Family Farms at this point in time. Chris Laddick is his name. It's the way it's pronounced, is Laddick.
Okay.
And both Chris and Matt, just this from personal observation, both are very qualified. Matt, actually, maybe if you will remember, Matt came to us. You remember a long time ago when the Bob Woolley position came open?
Yeah.
Matt Matt was one of the people that came forward and wanted to, at that point in time, be the, fill the balance of the term for Bob at that point in time.
He had real blue, his eyes were real blue. And his eyes, his hair was dark. I thought he was gorgeous. I have a daughter.
I can't speak to that part, but he did come forward to the county. And so, at any rate, just try to get some diversity in there. He is from the Coloma area, and that would be on the northern end. And so if there are positions to fill, Matt would be that one. And he not only, he's got farming in his background, but he runs a nursery operation as well. That's
Okay.
what he does. So,
Yeah.
What it says, he has from MSU, a JD, Cooley Law School, family farm. And I remember us interviewing. He was just made aware of this opportunity on December 8th, 2020. That's why he applied.
So I would make the suggestion that if everybody else on the board is comfortable with that, it'd be another way to include the northern part of the county and also someone who has farming in their background, nursery in their background, that kind of thing, as long as everyone else is represented well, as long as everyone else is represented well.
That would be good. I see nothing wrong with us having two agriculture people. And if Lois is in Niles, that's a different kind of ground than Coloma has hills and wine.
Very much so.
Well, and Lois does livestock as well as row crop.
Okay,
So she's got the livestock that she deals with there.
that's a good variety, isn't it?
Matt was one that I had on my list. Part of my problem was I was trying to find the list, similar to what Annette was trying to do as well. And I think that most of those areas that are needed have been covered with the applicants that we've received.
Yeah, that is good. In addition
And
to.
I would agree with Gary Wood, Chris Hugel, Arthur, and Matt being added into there.
Arthur's Havlicek, is that who that is, Arthur? When you said that?
You know, Madam
Yes, ma'am.
Chair,
Yes,
Madam Chair, I'm really in complete agreement with John on this because
who is John? Is that Wood?
I believe with Matt being on there, I think part of our decision-making process in representing and getting representation on some of these boards, we need to include more agricultural minded people on these boards because Madam Chair, I found this out from broadband that I had no idea, but we are 80% rural farming
Yeah,
in the county.
Yeah.
And that needs to be highly recommended or highly sought after. And I think we should do that. If you happen to remember my very first couple of meetings when I was a county commissioner, I put the room in a little bit of a torque when I told everybody in there that we need to remember that there's more to Berrien County than just St. Joseph, Michigan, because that's what people think. And I think that we need to enhance and put people on boards that have an agricultural background for their input. That's just I think so. On whatever boards we can.
yes. And so let's do something where we can straighten it out, because you're saying first names that are not here. You may
sure.
know about something else. Let's,
Madam Chair,
yes,
I would recommend Chris Hugel,
okay,
Arthur Havlick,
okay,
Gary Wood,
yes.
and Matt Mosier for consideration of this board to be appointed to the Planning Commission for the full board's consideration this
Okay.
at 10:30.
Okay, and that is, we're covering with Chris Hugel Real Estate, with Business Havlicek, with Environmental Wood, and with Agriculture Matt Moser. How does that sound, you all?
That is correct.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, I would support that.
Great.
And I don't know if we have to have a motion at all to do any of that. I just think that we just need to come to a consensus to
Consensus.
move this on for appointments to the full board. Can we do that today, Annette?
I would love to do that today. If you guys are good, I'll go right upstairs and I'll type it up and I'll get it out and we'll go.
I don't mean to make you any more work to do that, but I think we've been working on, we need to get this done and get it over with and move on.
Yeah.
I agree.
The next,
Look at that Brian. Everybody's doing this. Brian is doing like, this, we do good work. We should open a business. I want to be rich. We should open a business, but this came good because I had done region, I had done man, woman, I had done, thank you, Annette. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for all that you do. I feel real good about adding these people to this planning commission.
Yeah.
That'll work good.
Okay, then I think the only other thing, does anybody have any questions about your bills resolution or your road payables resolutions that are supposed to go to the full board today? Does anybody have any questions about those?
I'm good.
I did have, and I don't know whether you were in the room or not, but I questioned the attorney's bill.
Where is that? Where is
And
it?
Jake was supposed to get something to Brian. I just didn't understand how it could be so much, you know?
The attorney, John Dwayne?
Yeah, his law firm, because it was in the Galaxy legal proceedings. It was $12,021.50. So I was like,
How to
how
find
many
it.
hours did that take? You know? So that's all.
Brian, I think he said he just emailed you guys. something.
Yeah, 56.1 hours at a billing rate of $215. I've emailed the finance committee a copy of the full invoice.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so if we don't have anything else, then I gotta check the public comments. Holy cow, just a second.
I forgot we're on.
We're in a meeting.
Do we have any people on there?
You have 10.
Once again, finance rules.
Yeah, Edmund only had 2 this week, in case you wanted to,
And one was Commissioner Freeling.
Oh, was that the other one? Oh, so it was me and Commissioner Freeland? Oh, okay, well, there we go.
I might add, while we're waiting on public comments, that I'm very happy with the progress that our administrator is getting done on wrapping up the jail project. I'm feeling better and better about this every day, that this is going to be a solved problem and we're going to see an actual finish to it before the mainframe is replaced.
Oh, goodness. All right, you're good on public comments. We do not have any, so you're all set.
If any member of finance would like an opportunity to stay in the jail, just let me know.
Are we doing okay with the COVID there? There aren't any cases, or there has been positive, I know.
Yeah, so they continue to require, when you are booked into the jail, you're tested by the nurse staff. Then before you can be transported out of the jail to, a prison, you've also got to be tested at that point. The sheriff continues to have daily cleaning of the jail done with the UV machine. So they've done a really good job of controlling what could potentially be a pretty awful situation. And as it relates to closing out the construction project, we are getting very close. Just about weekly conversations between the county and the project team. And at this point, we are digging in our heels on replacement of some rusting doors, and then also swapping out the garage doors at the Sally Port. So it's getting close, but the mainframe continues to creep closer and closer to catching up to that project. So Commissioner Scott, it'll really come down to the wire.
When you say rusting doors, you mean from the time that period of time they've been working on it?
No, ma'am. So there's specialized security doors throughout. There's about 30 of them. And since July, we've been button heads on this. Put simply, the doors weren't stored properly. And once they were installed and once they went through priming and painting, almost immediately, some rust started to show itself. And so from the county's position, we've just dug in our heels saying those have got to be swapped out. We can't invest this amount of money and in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years find that the doors are no longer functional.
Thank
Brian,
you.
am I correct in stating or assuming the fact that the rust on the doors came from the inside of the door to the outside?
Right now, it's both.
Okay.
So there's some surface rust, and then when we've opened up the hardware to try and peer inside, you can see some interior rust. But to say how isolated it is, I mean, honestly, without drilling through and opening up the body of the door, you just don't know. And you've got that issue times 30, and that's at its core, that's the issue. It's just, can you feel confident knowing that you've only got a 1-year warranty on a door that within just months of install is already showing some signs of rust? I mean, these things have a unit cost of over $3,000. By the time you install them, you're knocking on $5,000 per door. And I think it's reasonable to say that you're going to want 20 or 25-year life out of the door. Now, with that said, with respect to the Finance Committee, I'm looking at Annette, and I know she's got some typing to do before a 10:30 meeting.
I do have one public comment too, so I gotta do that.
Yeah.
So you do have a public comment. It's from Tony Benhart of Sodas Township. A reminder that just because you have an item on a budget is no sign you should be able to spend money without a limit and approval of this committee. And that's all of your public comments.
Thank you. Any other words, Commissioner? Brian, you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good to see you.
Yep.
Thank you all.
You too.
See you at 10:30.